India is changing. India is changing day by day. How come you can say like that? Certainly, I can say like that. There is a big chaos going on in parliament. Anyone who is seeing the present situation of Indian democratic system, there is a new parliament that is built in 1,400 crore rupees. There is a Golden Vista project that is initiated by Mr. Prime Minister. Okay, Honorable Prime Minister in the kind of Lutean region. Lutean was an architect. He designed New Delhi. Earlier the name was Delhi. It became New Delhi, and then Connaught Place, and then Parliament building, Presidential House, and India Gate. Full region was designed by him. Lutean name is very bad in Indian term. Lutean means person who loot you, loot you, rob you. So Lutein was a respectable architect, so people give him respect as far as architecture is concerned. But the net motto means his design looted the country. Now in the Lutein region only, now Honorable Prime Minister, he is redesigning all the structure, parliament and everything. I don't think presidential house, but everything. Now India Gate, along the India Gate, the name now that was I believe Kingsway. Now Pragati Path, it was Kingsway, Rajpath. Now it is Pragati Path, Development Road or something like that. And along that, new war memorial has been created. Full Golden Vista project that cost 40,000 crore rupees. In that Golden Vista project, new parliament is built, but many building will come. I believe the head office of the military is also constructed under Golden Vista project. It is 40,000 crore rupees. 40,000 crore rupees project. Indian people, what is the salary of Indian president? 5 lakhs rupees. That is very, very high. The 5 lakhs rupees in 1 month is very high amount. Now, president is always he is along with 5 ADE. ADE are the people who generally they they go along with the president. So it is something like means president is kind of taken care of by 4 ADE. I don't know what is the name of ADE, but these are English terms. Okay, so in that sense, one AD is very high rank military officer. I believe his salary would be 2 lakhs or something like that. For 8 lakhs, he is going along with that. Now he is Mughal garden, full fledged presidential palace. See the expenditure. There would be tens and hundreds of employee out there, horses, so much expenditure, right? If president go by flight, then there is a private plane for that, Air Force plane. If president is going by train, full train is reserved. This is the expenditure of president. Okay, half of the Indian people they sleep empty stomach. They do not have food to eat. Okay, there are I believe many government organizations are there or some they give food in 5 rupees also. That also people do not have. People half of the people in India they do not have 5 rupees in their pocket also so that they can eat 2 times. But Prime Minister of the country talks about $5 trillion economy. One side that this is the real side of India. Other side is they are very rich, but day by day they are also coming down because at the end they have to grab money from the poor people only. Right? However, where from poor people would give money? Now that is the situation going on in the country. One nation, one election. This is what Honorable Prime Minister is proposing. One nation, one election. There are too many elections are happening. Every time one election will be happening. There are 29 states in India, I believe, and uh, uh, two or three are the states which are union territory, and they also have election like Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Pondicherry. They also have election. So 32 election happens and then central election. Now you tell me how much is the expenditure if monthly basis election is going on or every bi-monthly or tri-monthly, then expenditure is very high. In that sense, now the first people became poor. Now government is becoming poor day by day because the people who will give money to the government to become rich, then only government will become rich. Or another side is you get the multinational company and they will give you money. Now multinational company situation is America is becoming poor day by day. Now multinational company they have to go to their own country. Now at the end India is becoming poor day by day. Means government is becoming poor and day by day. Now government cannot afford 32 elections, 33 elections. Now government is pressurizing that election must happen in one go only, so that expenditure will be in one go only. Now the theoretical expenditure is four and a half thousand crore is the net expenditure in all along the election for the 5 years. But truth is only in 2019 election, anyone can check, 90,000 crore were spent in the parliamentary election. VVPAT machine and EVM and whatever, everything to all together. Now government do not have money and all election would go along in one go. If that is the case, whatever is the case, we are proposing that by 2029 Prime Minister election will happen separately and then MP election or MLA election. Then only whatever. Now the idea is election must happen in one go because government do not have money. And other sense, the opposition, they are now jumping on the government, saying that you cannot do it. Every state has different politics. Local politics is completely different than central politics. Election cannot go together. If it happens, then you are interfering in the state politics. In that way, it will not be fair. Government is saying, I don't have money to conduct the election. What is meaning of fair? When election will not happen, what is meaning of fair? But opposition is saying, I don't know. You have to conduct the election. As per the constitution, every state should have election. Okay? Okay. Now, if that is the case, then what is the path? Government do not have money. Opposition is saying you have to get the money. We cannot do anything. Now, what is the problem that is lacking here? But that is hitting the government. If state election and central election can go together, it is going together in many states like Andhra Pradesh, sometime back Telangana also, Odisha, Sikkim. I believe these are the states where the election happens together. So there is no kind of breakage of constitution. There is no violation of constitution as far as one nation, one election is concerned. So there is no problem out there. Why the opposition is crying for? Opposition is crying for because next election in the center would happen in 2029. As per the new rule, 2029, every state election would happen together. Center can do it without doing any modification in the constitution. But problem is in that way, state government tenure will be curtailed. Now, now in this year, I believe in 2024, election in Maharashtra and Jharkhand happened. Now in February, election of Delhi would happen. Now Delhi election, if it happens in 2029 again, then tenure will be 4 years only. So state government tenure has to be 5 years. So the change in, I believe, ratification in the constitution is required. Okay, now that is the bottleneck with the central government. Central government can conduct election together, one nation, one election to save a lot of money. But now every state tenure will be curtailed. Now Tamil Nadu election, West Bengal election, Bihar election, all are coming. Now, now if the election happens again in 2029, then their tenure, someone tenure will be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 4.5 year, against the 5 year tenure that is mentioned in the constitution. That is breaking. That is the bottleneck. If that is the case, that if that is the bottleneck, if that is the case, then what is the scenario? So we will to see more in it. So what is the scenario for the one nation, one election? What is the scenario for one nation, one election? Okay. So we propose prime ministerial election separately. So that we have seen, I believe, in detailed fashion. So one nation, one election. So there is article called 83. There is an article 83. So in article 83, duration of the parliament is 5 years. So that will be 5 years only. So I believe it is all right. Now these are the amendment required in the constitution. Article 172, duration of the state legislature. There either 172A will come, that is annexer to the 172. In this article, the tenure is 5 years. Now it will be reduced in some corner cases because now all the state tenure will change. For for 2029, some will get 2 year tenure, someone will get 1 year tenure, someone may get 6 month tenure, someone may get 4 year tenure. So for temporarily this tenure has to be modified, then modification in constitution is required. In that sense, there is a new bill will come. One bill will come as 1 year, one nation, one election, and one bill will come that is modification of the constitution. Modification one nation, one election. The bill is all right, no problem. That bill will pass out as per the majority in the upper house and lower house, no problem. But modification, ratification in the constitution required two-third majority in the upper house and two-third majority in the lower house. Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, two-third majority in the lower chamber. Okay, I believe House of Lord or House of Lord or House of Common in England, because that is replica copy here. So there in the Lok Sabha, lower chamber, two-third majority government do not contain. In that sense, modification in constitution is absolutely not possible. Okay, then we will see another scenario, but we will see the whatever the other constitutional problem that is coming. Okay, now there is a kind of okay, there is Article 372, that is to empower the parliament to regulate the election. First time it is required because parliament will take care of this tenure. There is Article 368, power of the parliament to amend the constitution. 368, power of the parliament to amend the constitution. This article will amend the constitution, and this article, two-third majority is required. So 360, 368 2, Article 368 2 says that certain constitution amendment also be ratified by at least half of the state legislature. Okay, the Article 368 talks about the amendment in Constitution. There is Article 368 2, bracket 2. It talks about the certain amendment in the Constitution required half of the state legislature. They should also pass the bill. Then only amendment in Constitution can happen. It affects the state. This is what is the rule. Now the government is saying that is not required. If someone wants one nation, one election, then he has to bring the bill one nation, one election in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, upper chamber and lower chamber. Then if it is passes through, all right. But it requires the modification in the tenure of the government, which requires the because it is mentioned in the constitution, then it requires one nation, one election is not mentioned in the constitution at all. So you can pass through, and that will become rule, no problem. But tenure of the parliament, tenure of the state legislature is mentioned in the constitution. That need to be modified for the first duration till 2029. For that, since states are involved there, the 368 2 article is saying for modifying those kind of constitution point, you need 50% of the state. If a state are 32 where election is going on, 16 state must pass this rule that one nation, one election is all right. And in that, 4 year term, 3 year term, 2 year term is also all right for us for one time. If they are okay, 50% states are okay, then only you can modify the constitution. Now there is a huge. What is the more about this rule? One nation, one. Now more towards it. This include amendment that after the federal structure of the constitution change the representation change the representation of the state in the parliament. This rule says that once you change the constitution and this constitution brings the change of the representation of state in the parliament, then 50% of the state, 50% of the state, their, their kind of nod, their yes is required. You have to pass the bill in 50% of the states assembly. Then only constitution modification can be done. It is required because state is this would change state representative to the center. Now, central government is saying no way it is going to change state representation to the center because state representation to the center is through the upper house. They will be elected the way they are getting elected. There is no change in that. So, state representative at the center is not changing. In that way, we don't need any approval of the half of the state in their legislature about this amendment in the constitution. Only the parliament two-third majority is enough. But opposition is saying you have to get both. Upper house, lower house, two-third majority is required, first of all. Second of half of the Indian state, they must approve this bill, then only you can amend the constitution. But personally, I think state is not required because their representation to the center is not going to change. Two-third is enough, but two-third how they can get. In lower house, in Lok Sabha, they don't have two-third. They have the BJP do not have the ruling party do not have majority, simple majority, where from they will get two-third majority. So this amendment is not possible. Now there is a bottleneck that what will happen if this amendment is not possible and government do not have money, then how election would happen? Separate election would happen. That's why we talk about the only solution to this problem is prime minister election must happen separately. There is only one solution. For that, government does not need any constitutional change. This is what I mean. Constitutional change. Constitutional change. There is nothing in there is nothing mentioned in the constitution like this. That prime minister election should happen through prime minister election should happen through this way. Okay, they are introducing new thing. I believe for that there should not be any change. Change is required introduction something in the constitution for that if two-third majority is required then I don't know, but as far as change is concerned there is no modification required, no tenure is changing, nothing is changing. If that is the case, then one time election for the prime minister election should happen directly. If it happens directly, then election of MP is not required at all. Prime Minister will make its cabinet and everything like that. State election can happen independently. But again, government do not have money for the separate state election. Then Prime Minister separate election and all the state election can happen together. For this, for this again modification in the constitution is required, but I believe the opposition will be all right for this. This is what I think so, because this is more crystal and clear. What are the other thing is more crystal? There is a hidden caveat here. Why opposition would agree for the prime minister election and state election together? There is no MP election will happen now, not required. State election, if it happens, they would elect. So there is only one chamber in parliament. That is called parliament. No, no upper house, lower house. Only upper house will be there. Lower house will be cut down. Upper house MPs will be elected from the state, and there will be a representative state, state of the state at the center. What is the problem with the opposition? Opposition is losing election by election. The Congress is the main opposition, and every election they are losing. Every election. Jammu Kashmir election, they have 4, 5, 6, 7 MLA. Jharkhand election, then again they are backbench, secondary. Maharashtra election and Haryana election, they fought on their own. They lost it. There is a high chance that they will keep on losing the election by election, state by state. In that case, in 2029 election, again they will lose as far as MP election is concerned. The election of MP, certainly Congress will use. If they are losing all the state election in 2029, certainly they will lose the election. Then what is the benefit of this election when they keep on losing? So only hope in their mind would be if prime minister election happens separately, then there may be a chance that they would win because traditional way they are losing. Every moment they are losing, then there is a high chance that they would win if prime minister election happens directly. So they may propose that prime minister happens directly, then they would support the bill. Okay, certainly BJP would not want prime minister election directly because through indirect only they are winning. But they both have to win, right? The government and opposition they have to win at one point. Then only the bill would be passed. So the government who is the government, the BJP government, they are losing in a way that prime minister election will happen separately. They are losing in a way because that is not traditional, and traditionally they are winning for the third time. The opposition or Congress, they will have one hope with this new way that prime minister election would happen separately. So both are, one side is losing something, gaining one thing. Other thing, they are gaining the money. Ruling party, opposition is gaining in the sense now they have a hope to become prime minister. So I believe this, if prime minister election separately, and that is scrapping the MP fundamental completely, only prime minister election would happen along with the state election in one go. One go is required because money is not there. Then both sides would win in that situation and this will pass through. So one nation, one election, rather than we can say one independent election of prime minister. Independent election of prime minister, the way it happens in United States, president is elected separately and in one go election. So 2029, there is a high chance that prime minister election would happen directly. And then only all the assembly election will also happen together. After that, 5 year only next election will happen. In between, if in between central government halls, this is there in the article, the new proposal from Ramnath Kovind. He was the past president, former president. He is proposing this. So in mid, if central government falls, in that then re-election happens, but tenure of that government will be the rest of the amount is the fact. So election, main election will happen every 5 years only. If in between something goes wrong and you fix it, then it will be difference only. So if something goes wrong immediately after 1 month, 1 year only, then the government what will be elected, it will be only for 4 years only. So that is the plan, and I hope that 2029 election of the prime minister will be different. This is what I believe so.